You look awesome. You look like a rock star that was partying way too late last night.
Yeah, baby.
So,
No, it's just fun. I'm reclaiming the American flag for the sane people.
I love
That's
that.
what I'm
I
doing
love that.
right. That's what I'm doing right now.
We I'd like to jump right into this, but first, I want to share something I think is pretty exciting. If I did the numbers correctly, we are right now sitting in on episode number 20.
No way. Really?
Yeah.
Well, time flies when you're having fun.
It's
That's
true. It's
amazing.
true. So, for those of you who
Never.
have checked in on every one of these,
Wow.
congratulations. I wish I had a prize for you, but I do not.
Yeah. No, we don't. But
Continuing,
we're still doing it.
we
Yeah. We'll
are.
keep on. We're going to keep on doing it.
We are.
Why not?
And I wanted to continue. We were talking last episode about projects, and I wanted to start at the very beginning and give people out there inspiration, especially if there's someone watching or listening who has an idea for a project, but they're not quite sure how to get it off the ground. So let's let's dive into any of it. We can talk about your tea house, we can talk about
Yeah.
your bonsai, we can talk about Martine space, any of the things I've created, your koi
Right.
ponds.
Right.
Really, the
Yeah.
world's
Well,
your oyster.
whoa. Well, there you go. Well, where to start? Because it's like,
Okay, so
you know,
let's
um,
let's
yeah.
start with your tea house because it's still sitting there and I there's a remake. It's an episodic remake of the James Clavell book Shogun. It's an episodic remake that was filmed a few years ago, and they did an
Uh-huh.
amazing job. Apparently most of it was filmed in Canada, but it looks like feudal Japan, and there are architecturally some beautiful buildings and a couple of really gorgeous tea houses that when I saw them, I thought right away,
Yeah.
Tone needs to see this. And I'm sure you probably,
Right. Yeah.
if you're very creative, you look at a space and I don't know if I got this from you or not, but you look at a space and you kind of let it tell you, what can I do here? What would you like me to do here? How
Right.
can my efforts best serve this space? Are you doing that with Martine's space right now, the work that you're doing over there?
Yes. 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 Basically, yes. Yeah, and I did tell you this. Yeah, I remember. And but it's true. That's what I like to do, and because you have to well in combination what people want. That's of course number one. Sometimes it can be done because you have like physical restrictions on the space that you have.
Yes.
People want something that doesn't fit. People want something that's way too small, and then it will lose itself in the space that they have. Or they're afraid to do something spectacular, and because they go like, yeah, well, why? It's not possible. Of course, because everything is possible if you put your mind to it in regards to designing things and stuff. You can always tone it down. But first you have to start big and think big. You go like, yeah, would this be awesome? Let's do this. Yeah, well, is it possible? No. There you go. And then you tone it down if necessary. And then uh, I still remember very vividly when we moved into this house. Then all of a sudden saw this ad in some paper and it goes like koi fish, uh, fish that eat out of your head. And then I was blown away. And I went like, what? Really? I never knew that. And that sold me right away. And I went like, yeah, I want to build a koi pond. And I said, I'm going to make it like this big and do like this, and so and so. And he phone like, oh, well, quiet. No. That's way too big. It's way too big. And then we started with a little modest pond over in the corner of one garden.
Right.
And the lesson that I learned there was that, okay, if you have the space, go for it. What are you going to do with it then? Sit on the lawn? Well, why? We don't have children, you know, and we have this big area with pavements, and it was very formal looking, and we're like, well, why not make it big? Well, because. What do you mean? Because? Well, why? Why? Because it's fun. Just let's do it. And that's was our journey. And I gave in the end, and we ended up with a little pond, and then we ended up with a little other pond, and in the other corner of the garden, as you might know. And yeah, there was the one with the cascade,
That's
with the
right.
waterfall.
That's right.
Remember?
Yes, I
Did you
do.
have the pictures? Then it was that one. And then I figured out I made a couple of design mistakes for having koi. And I went like, yeah, we need another one. And then I came up with the idea with a big one. And then by that time, Yvonne was okay with it. And when it was done, she loved it. And now we took it out and made a smaller pond. And we both still miss our own old garden, the big one with the big pond.
Well,
You see, so never be afraid to do it.
it had a very natural feel to it. Your koi
Yeah,
pond now is beautiful, but it's also very structural. It's a
yeah,
big rectangular deep space. And
right. And this purely for practical reasons as well.
mhm,
So I did it in another way, like you have Japanese garden, you have them in different styles. So I decided to go from an informal style, like a more natural shaped body of water,
right.
to a formal. Oh, I showed people, they forgot. See, this is the
Yes.
way it's shaped right now. Maybe we can put in maybe we can put in a picture of the way it was before,
Hmm.
and that tells you that just don't be afraid to do anything. Just do it. It sounds a little bit corny, and you know, but but
It doesn't
but it's
sound corny at
it's
all.
true. It's
I
true
think
always.
to that point as well, you have to look at the space and see if you can see your vision in the space. And for me, with the with the Kungaloosh room, with the Hogwarts platform, with the Tiki space, in all of those cases, they didn't come together immediately. They happen over time. You get to a point where you're like, okay,
Right.
looks good. And then you start adding layers. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have marching orders, like if I'm said yeah, oh, we don't need it this big, or why, or
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
like with the Hogwarts platform, I needed to accomplish several things. First of all, the cats have their food bowl in that corner. So I built a brand new elevated stand for the suit of armor. And I made it big
Yeah.
enough so that it fit into the corner, but small enough so that it only took up this one corner. And I made it very clear it didn't have a bigger footprint than that. It was literally half of that space, and it was still big enough to allow the bowl of cat food to sit underneath it. So the cats get to eat,
Yeah, boy.
the armor gets
Yeah.
to be displayed, and I made it so that if the armor has to come down because it's not liked, because that was the other sticking point. And then everything
Yeah.
else I just kind of looked at, and I
Yeah.
let the space inform me over a period of weeks on what I was going to do and how I was going to accomplish it. And
Yeah.
for the tiki space, for Ned's, the original plan was I was going to build a Quonset hut, which is the it's like a half moon with barn doors in the front, very popular corrugated steel storage
Corrugated steel, right?
solution for the
Yeah.
military. And then I realized if I
Cool.
build that inside a rectangular space, now I lose all of the space up here, and it
Uh,
creates a real restrictive not only space to live and inhabit, but it will restrict airflow, which you don't want in Florida, especially in the summer. So I
Right.
looked I looked at the space and I kind of decided, how am I going to make this work the way I want it to? And I ultimately wound up building a standalone structure. So I basically, in a sense, I kind of built a building within a building. And I think
Yeah.
also about the garden in Altamont Springs, and I just needed help with a
Mm,
couple of things. But you came in and you said,
mm,
well, if we move this and if we set this up over here, and then this becomes a focal point, and then we can build. You had wonderful ideas that just continued to plus the experience. And I think for anyone out there who's thinking about a project, whether it's a bookcase or tidying up a corner or maybe building a something full scale, be patient with yourself and don't be
mm.
afraid to literally think out of the box. The worst thing that can
Yeah,
happen is it doesn't work the way you want it to. I think
exactly.
you're doing a
Yeah.
great deal of work over at Martins, and I wonder what you've already encountered that made you go, "Oh, that's not going to work the way I was hoping it would."
Well, I gave a couple of viewpoints from my part because they made a couple of design decisions that were not really smart. Is it because it would make the space feel really small. So yeah, that's the best word. Made it feel small. So
Right.
like if you make a band here, you make it because they had, for instance, they had a wall, one wall that separated the man cave from the sanitary block with the bathroom
Yep.
and the shower and everything. 'Cause they made a little vent in it, a knick, and
Yep.
it went like this. So I went, if you do that, it will make it feel smaller. If you make it rectangular, you have more the space open up to you instead of it makes you feel caged in or something. How do you say that? Yeah, do I make
Well, no,
any
you're
sense?
right. If you have all of these walls
Yeah,
and they're
and this
not
is just
serving
a
a
small
purpose,
example.
they
Yeah,
just they wind up breaking up the feeling of being open. And
right,
also for everyone out there
exactly.
listening, Tone uses the term man cave, but it it's not man cave in the customary and traditional sense we think when we think here in the US. That just
No,
happens to be a term that they've adopted, but what
right.
Tone and Martine are creating is a big welcome space for everybody.
Exactly. Male and female. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And with in regard to the tea house, I'm just like I'm more of an intuitive builder. You
Yes.
know that what I did with my spa and everything,
Uh-huh.
my hot tub. It's just like I built as I went along, and see what you have and what you can make out of it,
Yes.
and that's what you did with your tiki bar.
It's
And
exactly
I'm
what I did.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do in my tea house as well. I
It
started off
has,
with these four round tree poles. I do have them already have them prepped. I put the suckle, the foundation for them
mhm.
is already in the ground, and I'm gonna start putting them up and brace them and just make a floor, and then see what we can do with a roof construction or something like that, and take it from there, and then maybe add some wood or maybe a Japanese
Right.
framework stuff. I don't know. We'll
Well,
see.
I don't, and
Eh,
I want to caution people against feeling like you need to move quickly. If you have a timeline because you have people coming over, you're going to use this space to entertain. I understand that, but
yeah,
then you need to get to a place where you pronounce it finished for now. After I
yeah,
pronounced my space finished for now, I still had other work I needed to add. I have an
right.
aircraft galley cart like you would see
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
commercial
yeah,
plane as they push down the center. I've got that in there. And
yeah.
I had to figure out where I was going to mount this instrument cluster from a small aircraft. And, I originally had this idea I was going to mount it on a wall, but I didn't like the idea of putting it on a space like that. And what I wound up doing is I mounted it on
On the,
the
yeah, the
ceiling structure I
framework.
created, and
Yeah,
it
exactly.
it faces down. And the other
Yeah,
thing which I
awesome.
did is it's kind of a
That is
reveal.
beautiful.
You don't see it when you first walk in. You have to walk towards the back of the tiki
Right.
space to see it.
And also, what just popped into my mind is we talked earlier about space that you have or have not, and the
Mhm.
people who have the space are reluctant to use it because of whatever reasons. Sometimes people think it's not done or something, and I go like, oh, let it go. But also, but also, if you still want to hold on to the space because you have children or whatever, they have to play. You
Yes.
can what you can do is use the space that you see from indoors and make it like a really confined space where it's very
Yes.
comfortable and you have a lot of gadgets, items, plantings, green. You can make a freaking tropical oasis, especially people who are living in Florida, right?
Yep.
You can use everything you have out there. You can use the trees in your design from the neighbors as well. You can
Right.
always situate whatever you like
You
anywhere.
can.
And yeah, and because Japanese gardens are very well known for using very small spaces and make it feel very big and natural, and it's awesome. It's a very good learning school. Not necessarily that you have to do a Japanese style or anything like that. You don't have to do that at all. As long as you still have an area in your garden that feels natural and comforting. Is that what
Yeah,
we need? No?
knowing how to work with the space, listening to the
Yeah,
space and kind of allowing it
right.
to tell you what to do. It
Natural elements, that's what you need.
yeah,
Because
it's
it
so
does
much easier.
it's not about the fucking white picket fence, the proverbial white picket fence. It's not
Right,
about that.
right.
It's about, and that doesn't give you the feeling of comfort and
And
relaxation.
you
You
talk
need
about
nature.
the view from the house for me, and it kind of organically came along that way. You look through the house and you see the tiki space, but it's not in your face. And then beyond that, you see outside beyond the screened area. Now, in the tiki space, what I wanted to do was create this sense of the indoors coming out and the outdoors coming in so that you
Exactly.
have this sort of space in the middle. And when you
Yeah.
look into Ned's in the back right corner, I've got plants that are coming in from the back corner as if they're intruding. And the reality is,
Great.
I've got a thatched roof, small tiki bar in the back corner, but I also have a big silk plant that I took
Yeah.
apart several palm fronds so that I have it all over the place.
Yeah.
Like the nature is intruding. Now, I
Right.
just decided last week beyond the screen patio, I'm going to hang a shade canopy and I'm going to get a big, huge, something like a big wicker day bed. They had them at the Club Med in Port St. Lucie, and I'm going to create a little place outside to be able to sit and relax, especially when the
Yeah.
temperature gets lower. You want to go out and grab a pillow and a book and read or take a nap. And with the canopy, you don't have to worry about the sun baking you.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. By the
And
way,
that,
Yvonne, yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Yvonne picked up this really nice bamboo bench. Awesome.
Oh,
It's
nice.
in the, it's in the front yard. It's €7.50 at at the thrift shop. It's crazy. I'm gonna show you a picture. I'm
You
gonna
have
send it
to.
to
You
you.
have to.
Really funny.
And I love that you mentioned that because I used the light fixtures in the tiki space. And it was an idea that I got by visiting another space called the Hammerhead Hideaway in South Florida. And I was talking to the creative genius behind it, and she goes, yeah, I got waste baskets from thrift stores, and then
Hey,
I made them into lamps. And I went, oh my gosh. So I went bonkers, and I'd go and, for a dollar or two,
wait,
yeah.
wait. You gotta wait.
Okay.
Out loud. Get it out. Get it out.
Uh-oh. Well, so we're going to, oh, do we have fish?
I have no idea why she bought it, but that's okay. I ate it.
What is it? What kind of fish?
Yvonne bought a ghost koi.
Oh, that's so
Dat is een
funny.
ghost koi. Het is wel een ghost koi. Where did you buy him? Bij de nieuwsstand. Oh my god.
So
Okay,
that's
well,
so funny.
that gives that gives me a free pass to buy anything I like right now. Oh my god, I was so glad we got rid of these fish and now she brings them back.
Well, you need to have some fish in your koi pond, or else it's not a koi
Yeah,
pond.
I do. It's fine. It's her pond as well, hè, schat?
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, pretty funny. So she went to the garden center and she bought a fish and she didn't even let me know. So I couldn't pick one. Oh my god. I was, yes. Ah, she had to buy it today. It was really important. She said a bad word. She did it.
I'm
She did it.
surprised. I can't imagine
That's
any bad
fine.
words coming out of that angelic
Yeah.
mouth.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. But that's okay.
Um,
That's
but
that's fine. I'm sorry I
so
interrupted you.
no, 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 because my thing was, and I challenged myself, and I always do it. My focus is, I want to build something with big production value. I want you to look at something and, think, wow, man, this thing must have cost you $10,000. And, for me, the reality is I got out for less than 100,
Yeah.
because you don't have to
Yeah.
spend a lot of money. Like I tell people all the time, when you're designing gardens, I'm a big fan of recycling old pots and broken pots. Just put them out in the
Yeah.
garden broken, and then put something in it and let it grow and take over everything. Buy
Yeah.
you thrift stores and secondhand
Yeah.
shops and garage sales are all great places to get things that already have
Yeah.
a feel of character and life being lived.
It's true. Yeah. Just the other day we went to Belgium. I probably didn't tell you this, but
So I
on
wonder if you were in
Marktplaats.
Belgium at the same time as Marcia and Marco, because they're in Paris right now, but they were in Belgium a few days ago.
Oh no, it was before that.
Yeah.
Because it's also that's nice, the bonsai subjects. As some of our viewers might know, I have bonsai hobby,
Yep.
picked it up. Yes. So anyway, Yvonne saw an ad on Facebook. There was somebody who sold all his bonsai supplies, his pots, his scissors, his all his tools and everything. It was a value from yeah, I was there was a value of normally if you buy them all new, everything new, it would be around 700 euros, and I got it for two.
That's great.
So it was in Belgium, so it was worth
How far
a
was the
day trip.
drive?
Yeah, ah, 2.5, 3 hours,
Okay,
but that's fine. We made a little day trip out of it, so
that's fun.
yeah, that was cool. So yeah, so I'm entering the world of being more professional with my bonsai art. So you never know. I'll send you a picture anyway. And
You have to.
I've got, yeah, I have a couple of trees that are doing really well. I have to set you up with some pictures of that as well. Maybe you can incorporate them in a new leader or
I
something
will,
if you
yeah.
want to
We
it.
mentioned
Really
last
nice.
episode, and we'll do it for this one. And you
Yeah,
folks that are watching and listening, feel free to tell us what you'd like to see, or maybe if there's something you want to see more of or hear about. But I'm going to assemble some photos on my end, and Tone is on his end of things that you've acquired, what the garden looks like, what
yeah,
Martine's place looks like, what it started out as, because we want you to know that it's much easier to accomplish these things than you think. If you have an idea for a space,
right. Absolutely.
if you feel like you're not very creative, all you have to do is look at some other places that, maybe someone did that. Maybe you went to someone's house and they turned a room into a studio, or maybe you
Yeah,
went somewhere and you saw someone's garden and you
right.
went, gosh, that's great. I want to do that. It literally take photos and do the research. You can do it yourself. That's
Exactly.
all it
Well,
takes.
and as long as you have the confidence that you can do something, you can do. And if you really don't, ask somebody else who can help you.
Yes. Yes.
No problems. Uh, no problem. You can do it. Well,
I agree. I agree. And you learn and you grow from the experience. I I don't know that I would have gone into creating gardens on my own had I not spent all the time in the Netherlands and around you watching what you did and
yeah,
learning. And I
yeah,
don't know that I would have created any of the spaces I've created if
yeah,
I hadn't tried. And that's the other thing. You discover by
yeah.
doing that, you're
Well,
like,
you know what?
holy crap, I created that thing.
Yeah. Well, that whole Parthenon, Greek, Roman vibe
Yes.
building, which you created in Altamont Space, that was off the charts. That was crazy because you only had a couple of blocks and stuff like that. And just
Hmm.
put them together, and it felt like a miniature ruin.
Yes.
That was
And
that was amazing.
that's what I wanted it to feel like. And I I acquired 2 pallets of extra cinder block from a construction site because they had it left over. And
Yeah, that's right.
the superintendent said, if you want it, it's yours, take it.
Yeah, I
And
remember that. Right.
yeah. So when you look, the bamboo that I used in
That's
my
awesome.
tiki space, I was originally going
Yeah,
to use bamboo to support everything because bamboo is very strong, but bamboo also cracks and there's a bunch of other problems with it. And mine had been out in the sun for a little while. So I
yeah.
decided I was going to build a solid structure with 4x4s, 2x4s,
We,
and use carriage bolts. But I used the bamboo to surface everything so that it still has that vibe. And
yeah,
that bamboo, all
yeah,
that bamboo came to me for free because I found somebody on a local app. I think it was Offer Up, and they had just bought a
really.
home, and the back of their property
Yeah,
had a, you know, probably 40 feet worth along the
yeah.
back of their property of bamboo stand and this is tall stuff,
That's
goes up
so
to 30
awesome.
feet. So
Wow.
I showed up with an electric chainsaw and cut down as much as I could. And I loaded my truck with as much bamboo as I could take because I didn't know if I was going to make another trip. And I thought,
Right.
really take advantage of the fact. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
You can't get by stuff like that for nothing free
no,
or
no, the
no, it's
radio,
always
the
expensive.
the tall radio that I used
Yeah,
that
yeah,
and the speaker, I wired a jack to the speaker in the radio and it works perfectly. I can hook up an MP3 player
yeah.
to it. But that radio I found on the same app for $15, which is and we'll have photos for
It's
you
great.
all in the trailing credits, and you'll see
Cool.
some of the things that we're talking about and some of the details
Yeah.
that go into, things that you'd look at and go, well, is that a good idea? I don't know, whatever. But you find a way. You,
Yeah.
if you want to, just as an example, if you want to create an outdoor setting indoors or in a screened in area, get yourself things like air plants and get yourself orchids and get yourself things that don't, need tons of
Yeah,
moisture. Get yourself nice silk plants and just put a few around, and you'd be
yeah,
surprised what you would accomplish.
absolutely, absolutely. Because was dat bankje ook alweer voor time? Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. The couch, the bench was 1750.
Yeah, but still,
Okay,
it's
minor
bamboo.
difference. Uh, I thought 750, but it's not. No. Okay, but anyway, it's nothing. What are you,
Yeah.
what are you
No, and
talking about?
it's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm gonna send you a picture.
Yes, please.
Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at my new ponds. I guess
Yes,
my new
do
koi.
do that. What a perfect opportunity to wrap things up. What we're gonna do, yeah, Tone's gonna send me some photos of some of the things that he's done around there and as well at
Yeah,
Martine's. I'm going to pull some photos of some of my projects. And that will be in the trailing credits for today's 20th episode.
20th episode already. What the? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I love
So
it.
anyway, yeah,
Gezellig.
very gezellig.
Yeah.
Okay, very great talk to you, mate.
You
And
too.
until the next one.
That's right. Everybody remember, click like, subscribe, and tell your friends. And
Yeah,
yeah, tell your friends. And
friends as well.
we'll see you on the next one. And until then, later.
Later. Oh yeah, later. Doei.
Doeg.
Bye.